You sit in your chambers at the district courthouse as the clock passes 11:17 p.m. Another long day of signing orders finally ends. Your private phone suddenly rings. Unknown number. Something in your gut tells you this call will change everything. The voice on the line says Miguel is dead. The cartel warehouse was hit, and now they want you to step up. You loosen your tie and walk out into the humid night, knowing you have only two choices: run or take control. Another call comes from Luis. They need you at the safe house right now. The streets blur as you drive. You arrive at the safe house where armed men nod as you enter. Luis is waiting with maps and urgent news. Luis tells you Miguel named you successor. Your judge position gives the cartel perfect cover that no one else has. A rival crew threatens the southern port. You make your first real decision. Handle the threat and keep it quiet. At sunrise, you go home, shower, and put on your robe again. No one in court suspects what you did last night. You sentence a low-level dealer to probation, while the memory of gunfire from your first order still echoes in your head. The first week is chaos, but you learn fast. You meet your 4 lieutenants in secret locations, and they start calling you El Juez. When Lieutenant Rico challenges your orders, you stare him down and remind him that Miguel is dead and things have changed. At home, you keep the mask on. Your wife notices you're quieter, but you tell her it's just work stress. A DEA agent named Vargas starts getting too close. You sit in your chambers, reviewing his file and weighing your options. When you discover your daughter's boyfriend is asking dangerous questions, you bring him in for a quiet but firm warning. You promote the quiet and efficient Lieutenant Sophia to run money laundering. Under her leadership, losses drop dramatically. When a driver leaks information to rivals, he disappears. You don't ask for details. You only care that the routes stay secure. A rival cartel led by El Toro attacks one of your warehouses, killing 12 men. You stand in the wreckage and plan your response. The pressure keeps rising. You start carrying a pistol and vary your routes home while installing better security. Late one night, you meet Sophia in a high-rise apartment. She says you've changed from fire to ice. Your calculated counterstrike works perfectly. 3 of El Toro's shipments are intercepted, and his cash houses get raided. You catch yourself in the mirror at the courthouse. Your eyes look harder now. The man staring back feels like a stranger. Late at night, the weight of every decision presses on you. The bodies, the lies, and the empire you now command. At public galas, politicians shake your hand, completely unaware that the respected judge in front of them controls a vast criminal empire. After court empties, you sit alone on the bench. The gavel feels heavier than ever as you realize how deep you have fallen. A year later, the empire is stronger than ever. Revenue is up 30%, and you control shipping lanes across 3 states. When the FBI starts connecting dots, you spend nights reviewing every vulnerability and ordering a quiet purge of weak links. One of your lieutenants skims money. You handle it personally and watch as the consequences unfold without any emotion. Late-night meetings with Sophia grow more intense. Power attracts, and the line between business and temptation becomes thinner. At 4 a.m. with whiskey in hand, you replay every choice that brought you here. You no longer recognize the man you've become. A sniper tries to take you out at a public event. Your security takes the bullet meant for you, and the attacker is quickly silenced. You visit the wounded bodyguard in a private clinic and promise to pay for everything, including his children's education. You host quiet dinners with politicians and businessmen, where real deals are made with handshakes and thick envelopes. After the key charges against your empire are dropped, you sit alone in the empty courtroom, feeling the full weight of your power. At night, you lie awake staring at the ceiling while your wife sleeps beside you. The empire now owns you completely. You expand the empire further by creating new front companies and buying influence in City Hall and among other judges. When the FBI gets dangerously close, you order a quiet purge of every weak link in the organization. You no longer flinch at hard decisions. The man who once believed in justice now dispenses it only when it benefits the empire. Late at night, the guilt returns. You sit with whiskey and wonder how many lives you have destroyed to build this empire. After engineering the collapse of the federal case, you sit alone in the empty courtroom, feeling both powerful and completely hollow.
Years pass and you become deeper in the empire than you ever imagined. By day, you are the respected judge. By night, its hidden architect. You visit the wounded bodyguard and promise to take care of his family, feeling the heavy cost of the power you now hold. At home, you try to maintain the mask with your wife and daughter, but the distance between you keeps growing. In court, you sign orders with steady hands, while outside, you make life and death decisions without hesitation. There's no exit from this life. The empire owns you just as much as you control it. You expand front companies and political influence, while the empire grows stronger and more sophisticated under your control. Late at night, the guilt returns. You sit alone, wondering how the man who once believed in justice became this. Driving home, the city lights blur past while your phone buzzes with new threats and new opportunities. You eat dinner alone at home while your family sleeps. The man they love no longer exists. Lying in bed, you stare at the ceiling and accept the only truth left. This is your empire now, and there is no escape. You now run the entire empire with cold precision, making strategic decisions that shape the underworld of 3 states. In court, you dismiss charges and bury investigations, while outside, you control the flow of drugs, money, and power. The constant pressure and paranoia never leave you, even when driving home through the rain at night. From your penthouse balcony, you look over the city you secretly rule and understand how completely it now owns you. At night, you lie awake beside your sleeping wife, knowing you can never go back to the man you once were. The empire now brings in hundreds of millions, while you sit on stacks of cash that no one will ever trace back to the respected judge. By day, you sentence men from the bench with absolute authority, while at night you decide who lives and who disappears. From your penthouse, you look over the city you secretly control and feel the full weight of the empire on your shoulders. At 4 a.m., the guilt and memories return strongest. You sit alone, wondering how far you have fallen from the man you once were. Lying in bed, you realize the truth. There is no exit. The empire owns you completely and forever. You stand on your penthouse balcony, looking over the city you secretly rule, knowing the empire has changed you forever. In the empty courtroom, you sit on the bench with your gavel, no longer just a judge, but the hidden master of an empire. Driving home through the city lights, new threats and new opportunities keep coming. The game never stops. You eat dinner alone while your family sleeps. The man they love no longer exists. Lying in bed, you stare at the ceiling and accept the only truth left. This is your empire now, and there is no escape.